guys! Welcome to another episode of our vlog. And for today's video, tatalakayin natin. We'll talk about NICU nursing. So this video is for nurses who are interested in NICU nursing. Ano nga ba ang buhay NICU nurse? Sa mga hindi nakakaalam, NICU is Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. So hi guys! I'm Karine. Isa akong NICU nurse and I've been working in this field for more than 10 years already, di ba? Hindi, wag na natin i-reveal ang age ko, but yeah, 10 years in the NICU. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga bagay na basics kailangan yung malaman as a newly grad nurse or sa mga interested na lumipat sa NICU? Watch and learn. Okay, so number 1 in my list is, what is the typical shift like? Ano ba? Paano ba nagsisimula at natatapos ang shift natin as a NICU nurse? So first of all, sa mga lugar na napuntahan ko, you have to go to the hospital with another set of clothes. Hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa NICU na naka-uniform na agad. So in Saudi Arabia, ang ginagawa namin doon is ordinary clothes and then abaya. And then pagdating sa hospital, we wear our uniform, which is nilabhan namin sa bahay. Or we can borrow scrubs sa labor and delivery or sa OR. Sa Dubai naman, ang experience namin doon is we go to the hospital using our home clothes or, you know, just the ordinary clothes. And isusuot namin ang uniform namin na nilabhan sa hospital bago pumasok sa unit. Here in the US, ang practice nila is, well, sa facility na pinagtatrabahuhan ko ngayon, we go to the hospital using our clothes already, using our uniform, and then mag-hand washing lang kami, and then pasok na sa unit. Medyo nagbago lang recently na kailangan na namin kumuha ng scrubs from the ScrubX machine. If you want to know more about the ScrubX machine, comment down below and I'll make a separate video for that, how to use that machine. Pero, ang hospital na naglalaba at nagpo-provide ng scrubs namin, kukunin mo lang sa machine and then you're ready to go to the unit. So, pagpasok mo sa unit, hindi naman kara-kara pupunta ka na sa pasyente. When you go there, usually lahat ng NICU setup ganito, bago ka makapasok sa unit or sa nursing station, meron ka munang hand washing area na dadaanan. So depende kung anong klaseng sabon ang ginagamit ng facility nyo. Sa hospital namin, yung pink na sabon or yung Avogard na sabon ang ginagamit namin. It should be for 2 minutes and then pwede ka na pumasok sa unit after that. Pag nasa unit ka na, usually nag-huddle muna kami sa nurse station to get the safety report, kung ano mang ganap, kung anong latest, kung anong mga changes sa mga policies, kung ano yung mga errors na nakita na we can learn from. So it's a short huddle and we will know kung nasa delivery team ka ba or nasa code team ka. If you are part of the delivery or code team, kailangan mong kumuha ng pager. And this pager serves as your alert na may nagko-code somewhere. Sa delivery man yan, OR, sa MRI, or sa unit nyo mismo. So, aside from that, kukuha ka din ng Zebra phone. Zebra phones is our tool para kahit nasaan ka man sa ospital, kita mo ang vital signs ng pasyente mo. So, ang setup dito kasi sa US is naka-separate rooms per incubator or per baby. Meron kaming 2 babies per room, which is parang 3 or 4 rooms lang. Tapos meron din kaming 6-plex na tinatawag na may 6 incubators inside a room. So, it's very helpful na may telepono ka and you can see the vitals of your baby kahit nasa bedroom ka, nagpe-prepare, or nasa isang pasyente mo ikaw, may ginagawa ka, you can still see the vital signs of your other babies. And it will also alert you kung nagdidisa at nagbe-brady na ba yung bata mo, or Sa call bell din, connected din siya sa call bell. So if one of your parents are around and they press the call bell, magtutunog din yung Zebra phone mo. So those are the things. And of course, you have to get a pen and the report sheet. So depending on your facility, dito sa facility namin dito sa US, meron talaga silang handover sheet or report sheet na pwede mong kunin, depende kung nasa mga grower feeder ka or preterm babies, isang sheet 3 patients ang pwede mong ilagay. Meron din kaming micro-preemie sheet na much detailed at isang whole page talaga na dedicated for one micro-preemie baby. At sa likod niya, meron namang parang pang-ordinary baby. Kasi usually, kahit micro-preemie yan, pinapartneran niya ng mga grower feeder or mga hindi as critical as your micro-preemie. So, and then kapag nakakapag-huddle na and you know already what's the updates, then you can proceed to your room assignments. So, nag-iintay na doon yung nurse na mag-hand over sa'yo. And then, you get the report. So, ano ba yung mga reports na usually na sinasabi? Of course, yung details ng pasyente, kailan pinanganak, ilang weeks nung pinanganak, at ilan na yung corrected age. Now, sa mga hindi nakakaalam, ang corrected gestational age is yung, paano ba? Yung gestational age niya nung pinanganak. So, for example, pinanganak si baby ng 25 weeks, 4 days ago. So, 25 plus 3 na siya today as of speaking. Also, sasabihin din sa'yo ang name ng parents, ano ang latest weight, and of course, their code word. Yung code word, napaka-importante niya kasi if they're not around and you wanted to tell them or relay a very important and sensitive information, you have to make sure na magulang yung kausap mo. And the one way to find out is their code word. So usually, nasa-set up tayo ng code word na sasabihin nila if they are the real parents nung baby na assigned sa'yo. Also, sasabihin sa'yo per system by system na assessments nung bata. If the baby is stable or not, if the baby has infusions, ano yung respiratory support, anong feeding type, kung NG, OG, oral feeding, kung NPO ba ang status ng baby mo, and of course, kung anong mga contraptions. Meron bang endotracheal tube, meron bang NGT, OGT, UAC, UVC, PICC line, J-tube, ostomy, fistula, lahat ng pwede mong makita sa isang baby na nangyayari or kinakabit sa isang baby. So, you have to make sure na lahat ng details na sulat mo, kung ilang centimeters out, so kung anong level is, for example, yung OGT mo, anong level siya nakatape. So, kailangan nakalagay din sa'yo kung anong feeding type. Siyempre, hindi ka lang naman basta magre-rely sa sinasabi sa'yo. You also have to go to the bedside after the handover. Pupunta kayo sa bedside and then you have to actually check everything before you start everything. So, or before umalis yung ka-endorse mo. So, ito-check mo kung okay yung mga linya mo, kung infusing, tama yung rate, nasa right level ba, yung IV mo infiltrated ba, yung PICC line mo, ano bang itsura ng dressing niya, yung UVC mo, tama ba yung naka-infuse. Minsan kasi, ang umbilical venous catheter at umbilical arterial catheter, may chance na minsan magkagulo-gulo sila pag walang label. So, it's very critical na alam mo kung alin ang UVC at UAC at may mga tamang fluids kasi na pwedeng i-infuse sa UAC at UVC. So, I won't go deeper into that, but those are the safety check. Those are the checks that you need to do with the outgoing nurse. So, after mo makuha yung assignments mo, so depende. Ang ratio kasi ng hospital namin is sometimes 1 nurse, 1 baby kapag critical yung baby. Sometimes 1:2. One nurse, two babies. Pwedeng one intubated and one CPAP, one intubated and one grower. Pwede yun. Or 1:3. One nurse to three babies. Either naka-high flow nasal cannula yan, isa o dalawa o lahat sila, and grower feeder. So, minsan nangyayari din, it can happen na 2 nurses is to 1 kapag level 4 na yung leveling ng hawak mo or micro preemie. Then, after ng handover, upo ka ulit sa computer mo, do your logins kasi we're using Epic. So, kailangan mo mag-login doon and kunin mo yung mga pasyente mo para nakalist na siya sa mga list of patients mo. And then after that, you have to sign in sa care event para nakikita mo yung mga babies mo sa Zebra phone. And also, kung may mga nakalimutan kang details, you can also check, look back sa file ng pasyente and then update your handover sheet. Now, the handover sheet, meron siyang the typical handover sheet, meron siyang, or report sheet, meron siyang time. So, it starts with 7 or night shift nurse kasi ako, mga moms. So, it starts 7 p.m. hanggang 7 a.m. So, what I do, I put, for example, medications na kailangan ng pasyente. For example, I have medications for 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. and 12 midnight. And then I have, for example, rate change at this hour. Ang pinaka-common dyan is feeding times. Ang pinaka-common na nilalagay namin sa report sheet sa mga timings na nakalagay, which is 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is their number 1, feeding time. So, kung halimbawa may 3 babies ka and these babies usually eat 4 times sa isang 12-hour shift. So, every 3 hours silang pinapakain. Depende sa order ng baby. Sometimes they eat every 2 hours, sometimes every 3 hours, sometimes every 4 hours, and sometimes ulit continuous NG feeding. So, depending on that, isusulat mo siya sa sheet. Number 2, medications nga. Number 3, if you have scheduled labs, if you have scheduled x-ray, MRI, and fluoroscopy, pwede yun. Or, ano pa ba? We usually check the intake and the output at 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So, kailangan masulat mo din doon kung ano yung mga infusions mo for 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So, depende kung gaano ka-OC or ka-very artistic. You can also use multicolored pens, highlighters. You can also use pencils, whatever works for you. Yeah, meron akong cheat sheet kasi baka makalimutan ko. And then now, you are equipped to start your shift. So, since night shift nurse ako, sometimes wala nang magulang sa bedside kapag nag-rounds na ako. But sometimes, kung may mga magulang, if the outgoing staff told me na andyan yung magulang, I usually go sa room first and introduce myself na ito yung sample, ha? Wag niyong i-judge yung English ko. Hi, my name is Karine. I'm your baby's nurse for tonight. Pwede mo rin sabihin yung name ng baby. For example, I am Doroteo's nurse. For tonight, I'll be working from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. If you have any questions, let me know and I will answer you the best that I can. If not, I will get the provider for you. Yun. And then, isa-set na natin yung expectations. Like, for example, halimbawa, due for bathing yung baby mo. So, you will say, okay, so for tonight, I'll be starting my assessment at 8 o'clock. And I will check the temperature, vital signs, blood pressure. We'll change yung mga ganan. And then, for example, Doroteo is scheduled for bathing tonight. Do you want to take part with, are you comfortable doing the bath with me? Pag sinabing, yes, edi go. Kapag sinabi naman na hindi, natatakot ako, sabihin mo lang na, huwag kang mag-alala, andito ako para i-assist ka. It will be hopefully it will be a very pleasant experience for you and for your baby. Usually naman, gusto ng mga magulang na maging part ng mga firsts ng mga baby nila. And, syempre, isa na dun ang bathing. So, yun, kailangan mo lang na ipakita sa mga magulang na may may set of activities ka ng planned for the night. At that way, makukuha mo yung confidence nila. Kasi syempre, kapag hindi nila alam yung ginagawa mo, like for example, pupunta ka lang sa room and, magta-touch-touch ka ng kung ano, babalik-baliktarin mo na si Bagets, parang sabihin nila na, hey, andito ako, kausapin muna kami, ganyan. So, you have to acknowledge them. So, yun, magkakausapin ko yung mga magulang and then I will start my shift by doing my safety checks. So, it's really important to make sure na nasa safe side ka. So, you always have to make sure na meron kang resuscitator or TPs at meron kang oxygen source at bedside. And the most important thing is suction. Lalo na kapag mga grower feeder ang hawak mo or kahit hindi lahat ng NICU baby in general, kailangan may suction setup ka and PPV setup kasi hindi mo alam kung kailangan mo kailanganin. Kasi may mga instances na bigla na lang magsusuka yung baby, so you really have to have a suction at the bedside. Sometimes magse-secondary apnea yung baby, so kailangan mo ng TPs at the bedside to give them some support. So, yun, kailangan nakaset siya sa tamang settings and also your suction. Sa mga baby, minsan ako-order kung low or medium suction or sa mga naka-continuous, like for example, kung may Repogol ka or Salem Sump Tube, naka-order yon kung low continuous suction or low intermittent suction. So, you really have to be careful pag nagre-receive ka ng report kung ano ba talaga ate. Diba? So, kahit saang bansa ka pa naroroon, safety should be our priority all the time. Hindi lang para sa lisensya natin, but more so sa safety ng mga baby na inaalagaan natin. And then the next one will be, pwede na tayo mag-start. So, I will tell you the basic. Yung halimbawa, hindi naman ganun, yung 1:3 na assignment. So, if I have 1:3 assignment, magsa-start ako, di-divide ko na yung oras ko. So, kung hindi naman ad-lib feeding yung bata, magsistick tayo sa schedule ng feeding time nila. So, yung assessment time mo, isasabay mo na dyan yung feeding time mo. Or, yung feeding time mo, isabay mo yung assessment mo. It can be vice versa. So, magsa-start ka ng 8 o'clock, and then 8:30, and then 9. Pwede naman na 8:30, or depende sa'yo, basta 30 minutes ang ginagawa ko, each baby. So, 8, 8:30, or 9. Sometimes, kapag medyo mabagal kumain yung bata, ginagawa kong 8, 8:30, and then 9:30. Depende sa inyo. Okay? But usually, yung ginagawa namin is 8, 8:30, and 9 p.m. So, magsa-start ka by, of course, introducing yourself kung nandyan yung nanay. Pag wala naman, then, do your assessments. Make sure, kasi nakapag-safety checks ka naman na, so you do your assessments. If the baby is due for bathing, do your bathing. Usually, kinukuha din namin yung measurements during the night. Every day, kukunin mo yung weight. And then, every Sunday, kukunin mo yung head circumference, weight, and length. Dito pala sa facility namin, hindi kami kumukuha ng chest circumference. So, at saka abdominal circumference or abdominal girth. So, I don't know why. Even sa mga necrotizing enterocolitis baby namin o yung mga nag-perf or yung may mga pneumatosis, hindi kami nagme-measure ng abdomen. Which, hindi ko alam kung bakit. Kasi sa Middle East, number 1 yan, especially kapag premature ang hawak mo, dapat may abdominal girth ka. So, sa mga nagtatanong, may mga lalaki nga ba sa unit namin? Yes, there are. Nagulat ako pagdating ko dito sa US na may mga lalaki palang NICU nurses because sa Middle East, wala kaming lalaki. I mean, meron pero mga neonatologists, pediatricians, Pero working at the bedside, walang nurse na lalaki sa NICU. And kahit yung mga cleaner namin at saka manager, charge nurse, lahat babae. Then, ano ba yung struggle namin sa NICU? Lalo na dito nga sa US. Ang number one is, for me, is communicating with parents. Kasi, pag galing ka ng Middle East, syempre hindi naman laging nakikichika sa magulang, hindi naman laging nag-e-educate ka kasi nandiyan naman yung mga doktor. And we are always looking at the safe side. So, pag may mga tanong ang magulang, laging ang sinasabi namin dun is, I'll get a doctor for you para siya ang kumausap sa'yo, di ba? Pero here, may mga magulang nang nagsistay sa bedside. So, sometimes, ang awkward naman kung may ginagawa ka sa bedside tapos hindi kayo nag-uusap, di ba? So, ayun, you will learn kung paano makipag-deal sa mga magulang and anong mga topics ang pwede niyong pag-usapan. You can also watch videos. Ang daming mga helpful na videos sa YouTube kung paano makipag-deal sa mga magulang. And may mga instances na hindi ka bet ng magulang, they can fire nurses here, even doctors, even providers, pina-fire nila. They have the right to do that. And no hard feelings. Parang, kung yun yung gusto niya, di okay, move on with your life. But mental health is real. So if you feel na you feel like you're being bullied or discrimination, then you have to speak up. Talk to your charge nurse na hindi ka komportable about your assignment, and usually they will do something about it. Ayun, dito naman big deal ang mental health. So if it affects you, speak up. And if you feel that you are being bullied or violated, then you have to speak up for yourself also. But being a Filipino nurse, 'di ba, napaka-resilient natin. So, before ka pumasok ng kwarto, inhale, exhale, smile. Well, syempre depende sa case, 'di ba? Kung medyo end of life si baby, medyo hindi ka masyadong palangiti. Pero kapag yung, 'di ba, normal na baby or okay naman yung si Bagets, pasok ka, smile, and then you start by introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Karine. I'm your baby's nurse for tonight. Do you have any questions for now? I'm just doing my safety checks. Is there anything I can help you with now? And then I'll be back at 8 o'clock p.m. to start my assessments and the feeding. Tapos, sabihin mo sa kanya kung due for bathing. So, for example, Dominica is due for bathing tonight. Will you stay? Kasi usually, all the time, night shift ako. So, sometimes sa mga nanay, nagsistay lang yan hanggang 9 p.m., 11 p.m. the most kapag gabi, tas uuwi na. So, pwede mong sabihin sa kanila na willing ka ba magstay para gawin natin ang bathing sa first assessment, ganyan, or sa 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, ganyan. And usually, they will say naman kung pwede mo na siyang gawin or they wanted to help you out. Also, you can let them participate sa cares like changing the diaper, checking the temperature, lifting the baby kapag kailangan ng i-weigh, di ba? Yung mga ganong participation. And also, you can gain their trust by letting them know na equipped ka to take care of their baby. So, kung halimbawa, you are just beginning your journey as a NICU nurse, you can always say na, I'm just starting my journey as a NICU nurse and I'm still learning. Kapag may mga questions kayo na hindi ko masagot, I'll make sure na I'll get somebody else to answer for you. Or I'll get my charge nurse to answer your questions. Mga ganon. Or pwede mo ding ikwento na I've been a nurse from around the world. I've been to Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, ganyan. It's not bragging but letting them know that you have the experience. And it's been years na naghahawa ka ng ganyan and hindi na bago sa'yo yung mga ginagawa mo. It also adds sa trust nila ba kapag nakikita nila na you're very confident and you know what you're doing. Yon. Sometimes hindi din masama na alam mo yung magpakilala sa kanila na alam mo yung ginagawa mo. Then, okay, so if it gets to you na halimbawa namatayan ka ng baby, sometimes naman hindi naman tayo heart of stone na apektuhan ka. You can always tell your charge nurse, and usually kapag ka namamatayan dito ng baby, meron silang nakalimutan ko yung tamang term pero para silang may meeting together with the team na involved. Tapos, nag-i-invite sila ng mga psychologist to help you out na i-process yung pagkamatay ng baby. And I have to commend Dr. Soliman na neonatologist namin sa Dubai hospital ko na experience ko na nung namatayan kami ng baby, hindi siya umalis ng hospital hanggat hindi kami nakakausap, na debrief about sa pagkamatay ng baby, na it's not our fault, that sometimes even if we try our best and we give everything that the baby needs, hindi talaga mare-revive yung bata kasi it's just the way it is. And alam mo yun, hindi talaga kinaya ng medical advances natin na ma-survive ni Bagets yung kung ano mang reason ng death. So ayun, na-appreciate ko yung mga neos na nagtitake ng time para kalmahin and kalamayin yung mga staff nila, 'di ba? Then sabi nga nila, once you are a NICU nurse, you will never get out. So nag-start ako, very short experience sa adult world, then 6 months lang sa PEDS sa Saudi Arabia, and then I switched to nursery and then NICU. So initially may takot na paano ko ba hahawakan yung mga maliliit na batang to. Alam mo yung etong cellphone, yan, ganyan, malaki lang ng konti yung bata dito sa cellphone, ganun. Minsan, ayan, itong chupon, mas malaki pa tong chupon minsan kaysa sa babyng hahawakan mo. So, don't freak out. May training naman how to take care of these babies. Of course, along the way, magbabasa-basa ka. And during the care conference or huddle together with the doctors and rounds, you will get to know more about certain diseases, topics, common na wina-watch out nila sa mga premature babies, or even sa mga term babies, ano yung mga pwedeng maging sakit nila, complications, anong mga dapat i-watch out mo as a bedside nurse. Yun, di ba? What are the skills para maging NICU nurse ka? So, para sa mga matagal ng NICU nurses, kahit saan mang bansa yan, wherever you are, it will be the same, same idea or same practices. Iba-iba lang tayo ng protocol and policies, how to initiate it, but the way to do the assessments is just about similar, kahit saan mang bansa ka galing. And you just make sure na whatever you do, it's according to sa policy and protocol ng hospital ninyo. For sa mga gusto naman lumipat ng NICU, ano nga ba yung mga skills na dapat alam mo? So, unti-unti naman ituturo nila sa'yo naalala ko noon parang hindi nga ako marunong mag-insert ng NGT nung nasa Saudi ako. So, nagtatawag pa ako ng nurses, paano mag-NG. So, kailangan marunong ka mag-NG or OG insertion, start an IV, how to take care of your PICC line, UAC, UVC, J-tube, ostomy, colostomy. So, dito sa US, dito ko lang na-experience mag-change ng colostomy bag. Although sa Dubai, meron na kaming training on how to take care of ostomies, and may wound care team kasi kami sa Dubai. So, parang naka-attend ako ng training once. Pero dito talaga, napaka-common na may colostomy yung mga newborns, or as young as mga nasa 25, 26 weeks, may mga colostomy na. So, imagine, di ba? Ang skin breakdown, yung mga assessments mo, and it will take really, kung halimbawa yung assignment mo is yung every 30 minutes lang yung spend mo sa isang bata, tapos natanggalan ka pa or nagli-leak yung colostomy mo, it will take maybe an hour of your time. So, good thing dito sa Amerika, may mga circulator. Your charge nurse can also help. Rescue nurses are there to do your assessments and feeding para sa iba mong baby. Or they can do the colostomy bag change or whatever that you need to do for your baby. Parang tulungan lang naman. Also, kailangan marunong ka mag-care for your endotracheal tubes, kahit hindi mo alam yung idea bakit ganito yung settings ng ventilator, you have to make sure na walang kink yung yung vents mo and yung tubings mo, that everything is set according sa order. Dito may RT kami, so you can also talk to the RT kung may nakita ka na mali sa vent settings mo na hindi na naka-order sa Epic. Yeah. And lagi kong sinasabi na lahat naman ng bagay pwedeng pag-aralan. So kung bago sa'yo yung isang bagay, like for me, hindi naman ako trained sa tracheostomy, or trach babies, pero dito, hindi ka naman nila basta isasabak sa mga trach na babies. Usually, may 1 to 2 days or 2 shifts na may body nurse ka or may preceptor ka about trach care or how to take care of babies na naka-trach. Then, attending deliveries. Dito kasi, parang mas common na charge at saka circulator yung nag-a-attend ng deliveries. Maliban na lang kung sasabihin nila na you have to attend the delivery as well. But usually, andyan na yung baby sa kwarto kapag mag-a-admit ka. So, pero sa Dubai, yun, kami nag-a-attend ng delivery. So, isa sa mga skill sets yan na dapat matutunan paano mag-attend ng deliveries. And of course, NRP basics. And I think hindi ka naman nila isasabak sa NICU nung wala pang NRP. So I think kailangan yun. And then, was the transition difficult? Masasabi ko na yung transition ko from PEDS to NICU sa Saudi Arabia is not difficult kasi mababait yung mga ka-staff ko sa Saudi. They are very supportive, lalo na kapag may mga bagay na hindi ako alam gawin. They are happy to help. And kapag naman hindi ko kayang gawin, they are willing to show me how to do things. And then next time, syempre dapat magka-initiative naman na syempre matutunan yung mga bagay-bagay kung talagang gusto mong maging isang NICU nurse. So, overall, kung ikaw ay experienced nurse na pupunta pa lang dito sa US, masasabi ko na good decision na magstay sa NICU, although napakahirap humanap ng post na NICU dito sa US, but then it will be worth it. And some of the machines that they're using here ay ginagamit na natin sa Middle East, so you will not have a hard time doing that. And may time ka naman to learn how to communicate. So, yun ang isang bagay na struggle ko. So, kailangan pag-aralan mo na as early as now kung paano i-deal ang mga magulang. So, there's a lot of self-help videos in YouTube about it. Then, kung ikaw naman ay isang nurse na gustong mag-transition into NICU or a new graduate na kapapasa lang ng board exam and you are choosing which unit you want to go to, I suggest that you start with nursery, get to know the newborns first, the basics, the normals, and then you can transition to NICU. Usually naman ang nursery at NICU magkapatid yan. So, malalaman mo yung mga abnormals kapag, syempre, magre-receive ka ng normal na bata and then you will suddenly see na takip-tik na yung bata. And there's a limit sa nursery kung hanggang kailan mo ikikip yung baby na takip-nik. So, syempre, lilipat mo siya sa higher level of care. Also, kapag mababa yung sugars. So, there are sets of protocols sa lahat naman ng department. So, you will know what are the normals and abnormals sa mga healthy term infants. And then, with that, kapag equipped ka na ng mga ganong malalaking bata, you can slowly transition to intermediate care. Level 1, Level 2, and then Level 3 or Level 4 and ICU. So, yun lamang po. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope na you learned something about NICU basics and what is our routine sa NICU before, during, and after mag-start ng shift. So, at the end of the day, at the end of the 12-hour period, sometimes may energy ka pa para mag-grocery. Sometimes naman parang gamit na gamit yung katawang lupa mo. So, ganun lang talaga guys. Hindi naman laging masaya or masarap. Minsan talaga may times na kailangan mo i-elevate yung paa mo kasi naka more than 10,000 steps ka na. Yun lang. Pero napaka worth it. Pag nakita mong happy yung magulang, pag nakita mong madi-discharge na yung babying sick na sick nung inadmit mo, it's a different feeling. Ayun lamang po. Maraming salamat. See you sa next video natin. Paalam!